Hi there, Michael Bovey. Thanks for tuning in to our YouTube channel, Debt Bites. Today, I've got cheat sheet. I'm going to cover a pretty heavy topic in moving forward with our Busting Myths series. Today, I'm going to talk about TDA or Treasury Direct Accounts and how you're supposed to be able to pay your bills and discharge debts using some secret account. Let's get started. Heavy topic. So, some of the popular advocates that popularized these theories date back to the 80s, Roger Ulvik with the redemption theories and UCC financing statements and having gone to jail for fraud, issuing site drafts, fraudulent instruments, and other supporters and people that picked that up from Roger Ulvik also in jail. And even recently, two of the more known advocates of this type of process for discharging debt are being indicted, federal indictments for fraud and money laundering, that kind of thing. There are plenty of resources for you to tap into to learn that this is not correct, it's a scam, and we'll have those in the video description below. But let's begin with some of the histrionics, okay? And it begins with the fact that you were born. So you're born, you're a natural person, and suddenly, and back in the day in history, your birth was recorded in the family Bible. There was no such thing as a birth certificate. And then along come government and society and a more organized situation, and you're issued this birth certificate. And this birth certificate, by some of these theories, is what creates or is a bond and has a dollar set value. That value changes from one person talking about this to the next, these advocates that promote this. But the assumption is that that birth certificate created an account with your name on it in all caps, and it's got money in it for you to access and to prepay your debts or to come up with some form of a financial instrument that taps into the fact that this account exists. And it's tied to your social security number. So, right, you need an account number, right? Because a birth certificate is just a certificate. So how do you get to the money? And now you've got these different theories and people advocating that your social security number is the path to access the money that was created by your birth and or the certificate thereof. And what we've got today, and this is all histrionics, goes back to the Bank Act and a whole bunch of different things. When people argue about the 16th Amendment ratification, 14th Amendment ratification, they've got a foot in all of these different theories, because when you run out of room to explain your current theory about redemption and UCC financing statements, you've got to put a foot in over here about the birth. I don't want to get ahead of myself. I'll tie these all together in the end. The fact of the matter is that, and really what the main purpose of this video is that, and because I don't want to argue history, I'm not here to argue with people their beliefs, is to just focus on the fact that there is no account. There is no account that you can tap into that has money because you were born or issued a birth certificate or a social security number that gives you the ability to issue payments to people. There's a link below in the video description to one of the press releases out by the Atlanta Federal Reserve, and it talks about over $100 million worth of payments that have been reversed. The assumption by folks that think that they're going to be able to pay their bills is often the fact that it worked, because for a second it actually appears like it did. So here's what happens, right? You think this might work for you, and people have, otherwise we wouldn't have 100 million plus of payments being reversed from the Federal Reserve. But you send in this payment, and the people at these departments, say for your car or some other bill, the power company, whatever it is, and they open this up and it looks like a payment to them. They're not trained for this kind of thing. They're just posting payments, opening mail, doing this, doing that. They see this and they post a payment. You log into your account for your car, your monthly payment for your car loan, and you see that they accepted it and they posted it as paid, and you don't see the rest of this, or people don't post about the rest of their experience, although there has been a few people that have, and said, hey, I had to do this the 4th time, I'm redoing it, and it's not working. Because there's no account. So the payment department posts it, and then 2 weeks later, after it's reversed, or a month later, or however long it takes to catch up with this, it's reversed, and now you owe, and plus a late fee. If it's credit cards, and after 2 payments of they're allowed, because of the Card Act, to jack up your interest rate, actually. So you think you're doing the right thing, doing these things and paying it, but you're harming yourself, because there is no account. You see, because the Federal Reserve doesn't have accounts for individuals. They only have accounts for member banks. That's it. You don't have an account there. They've even said so in some of the links that you'll see below. Then your Social Security number isn't an account number. It's a Social Security number. It's not going to be something that you can tie to one of these routing numbers of the Federal Reserve as an account number and have it actually go anywhere, other than a 2-week, maybe a month-long fallacy, because somebody in the billing department posted your payment because they didn't know any better. And then it's reversed and all the trouble begins, right? What kind of trouble? Well, behind me is the FBI screen page warning about these scams and schemes. And they're calling them things like, be wary of individuals and groups selling things that claim to inform you how to access secret bank accounts. What I'm talking about. Treasury controlled bank accounts for all citizens. They don't, right? We talked about that. Advocating speeding tickets, summonses, bills, tax notifications, or similar documents can be resolved by writing acceptance for value on them. And in fact, let's move on, right? So we know that you've got a Social Security number. We know that you've got a birth certificate. Now and the whole idea, the concept of there being a all caps name, right? Look at your Social Security card. Look at your birth certificate. Your name's in all caps. And when you see these kind of things, and when you tie these things together as an advocate of these kind of programs, you just borrow from each of one of these things, and it starts to bring a whole picture of, well, yeah, how come that? How come when I spell my name, it's got uppercase M for Michael, and then ICHAEL, all lowercase? That's normal. But why are these things all caps? And the idea or the concept is that your name in all capital letters is a entity that's created for you to operate in commerce and for them to exert control over you. The idea that your name lowercase is you, the real person, and your name all uppercase is a fictitious person. And that's how they get you. Yep, they got you because your name's in all caps, and if you don't acquiesce to your name in all caps, but you commit fraud and pass fictitious instruments, you're not going to get indicted. Nothing could be further than the truth. People are going to jail, and their all caps name is going with them. So what's happening is that you have this fictitious name, and you want to control it. And so you file a UCC statement, financing statement, with your Secretary of State. And I'm absolutely summarizing this. There's a whole lot of histrionics and legalese even that goes into these things. But it's with the assumption that you can file this UCC financing statement, take control of your straw man, and now anybody that uses your name and your name in all caps, you can file liens against. And people have tried that and gone to jail, filed liens against federal judges and things like that, using these UCC financing statement schemes. And it's a problem. It's a big problem you're creating for yourself if you follow them. At any rate, the acceptance for value is often tied to all of this in the UCC, Uniform Commercial Code, variation of, accepting something as a bill and discharging it through that acceptance. A lot of advocates out there have you write acceptance for value. Some want you to use red ink. Some want you to put it diagonally across the page and then sign the signature line in blue ink. But essentially sending that back, like in the form of a bill, as opposed to discharge the debt. So all of these things, as the FBI is bringing up behind me, and there's plenty of links to the FTC, the IRS, more than just the Atlanta Federal Reserve, that talk about these things. And it's not really until recently that we saw such a massive increase, because like I said, this has been around since the 80s, really, and saw a good push in the 90s, some of it tied to the sovereign movement, some of it just tied to, political dissatisfaction, right? It boils down to, and this warning for me, and why I'm creating this video, is that, and again, just to repeat myself from the beginning, I'm not here to argue somebody's beliefs. If you believe this stuff, have at it. I'm not here to argue history and whether this amendment to the Constitution was properly ratified, or the Bank Act, or things to do with the IRS. History is history, but there is no secret account that you can use to pay your bills. There's, the birth certificate, and I've got all my cheat sheet here. the birth certificate does not prepay your debts, okay? The USA declared bankruptcy in 1933 and the country went off the gold standard. Actually, it fully went off the gold standard when Nixon was in office, but that's beside the point. Taking all of these things in their totality didn't create a situation where you can get a free lunch. There is no free lunch. There is no $1 million, $10 million, $100 million sitting at the Treasury with your name on it just waiting for you to tap into it. It'd be nice. It'd be nice if I could do that and pay my bills and not have to go to work, but it doesn't exist. And it actually can cause a lot of trouble for people because you assume it works and you find out it doesn't work, it costs you more money. And you can also be on a list of people that are remitting these kind of things and problematically causing a disruption in our banking system and causing a problem for the vendors that issued you credit or turned on your power. However you're using these things and thinking it's going to work for you, buyer beware, caveat emptor. These things are not there for you to pay bills, and there is no Treasury account or Federal Reserve account with your name on it or your Social Security number attached to it that you get to cash into. See you on the next video.